Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. While we would have preferred to meet with you live, it's great to have you join us virtually. Just so that you know, we're joining you today from Saskatchewan, Alberta, and California primarily. Today, our platform is via Zoom, and so we have you muted at this point, but at the end of the announcement, we'll give you the opportunity to ask questions. You could do that either by entering your questions into the Q&A box, or if you use the raise your hand function, we'll unmute you and then you can ask your question verbally. You can either direct it to a particular project participant, or you can just ask it generally, and whoever feels most able to answer the question will do so. For now, I would like to hand things over to our CEO of Protein Industries Canada, Phil Gruhl.
Thank you, Miranda, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Before I get started, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan today. I'm on Treaty 4 territory, the original land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As some of you may know, I'm here today on a relatively fresh on the heels of our last announcement, which took place less than a month ago. While focusing on a different market, the project we're announcing today, which is Protein Industry Canada's 16th technology announcement and our 17th project overall, is no less significant in regard to the impact this will have on furthering Canada's plant protein ecosystem. Together, GrainFrac, Tomtene Seed Farms, and Ripple Foods will be developing and utilizing high-protein pulse-based ingredients for the non-dairy beverage market. Protein Industries Canada is both proud and excited to be co-investing half of the $4.3 million going towards this project for a lot of reasons. First, of course, is the project's potential to help strengthen Canada's economy. Tomtene Farms will be growing and supplying the pulses for the project right here in Western Canada, bringing us closer to meeting our goal of processing more of our crops at home. And by processing more at home, we're getting closer to Canada becoming a global leader in the supply of plant-based ingredients in food. GrainFrac's patented dry processing technology will also go a long way in helping achieve this goal, while reducing energy and water usage related to processing. I'm also proud to say that it will help strengthen Canada's intellectual property position in ingredient processing. In order to help Canada become a global leader in the supply of plant protein ingredients and foods, it is important that businesses here at home develop and commercialize their IP and meet the needs of our growers, processors, and food manufacturers. That may mean new seed varieties or on-farm technology, or in this case, new processing infrastructure. But it always means more innovation among Canadian businesses and better products for Canadian consumers. Finally, the involvement of Ripple Foods in the project means the partners have the opportunity to take Canadian-grown ingredients and processed products not only to Canadian consumers, but also those across the border. Ripple Foods has a great foothold in the United States, where the demand for plant-based alternative beverages is rising even more quickly than here in Canada. And they complete their testing of the ingredients, making their new beverages available. They'll help both meet the demand and strengthen Canada's economy. I'd like to thank each of our partners for the work they're undertaking as part of this project. It will go a long way to helping us meet consumer demand while propelling Canada to its place as a leader in the supply of plant protein ingredients and food. I'd also like to say thanks to all the Protein Industry Canada staff that helped move this project forward, and make special mention of Chris Anderson, our Chief Technology Officer, Cassandra Quayle, our Chief Financial Officer, and Diane Harms, our project specialist in Alberta that led the project internally. And finally, I'd like to thank Minister Champagne and Innovation, Science and Industry at the Government of Canada for their support of our Innovation Supercluster and of our partners. Their support will go a long way in helping ensure the plant protein sector continues to build upon the current strength and that Canadians have in the new plant protein options now and into the future. Now I'd like to introduce Minister Dreeshen from Alberta's Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. Minister Dreeshen was elected to the Legislative Assembly of Alberta in July of 2018 and re-elected in April of 2019, at which point he was appointed Minister of Agriculture and Forestry. As a fifth-generation farmer, Minister Dreeshen has long been heavily involved in Alberta's agriculture industry. He is a former director of the Western Canadian Wheat Growers Association and a former board member of the Crossroads Agricultural Society. He also served as policy advisor to Minister Jerry Ritz from 2008 to 2015. Thank you for joining us today, Minister Dreeshen. I look forward to your comments.
No, well, thank you very much, Bill. And this is always an exciting announcement or days where you can talk about value-added processing in agriculture, something that we as a provincial government actually have really prioritized over the last 2 years. And we actually set an investment target goal of $1.4 billion of private sector investment into the province of Alberta. And our investment folks working in agriculture and forestry have about 40 different leads that we really do think that we can actually achieve that in the next few years. So this is one of those exciting things that this announcement to be able to have more plant protein being utilized and work it into food manufacturers so that they obviously will be able to see Alberta made protein products on grocery store shelves in hopefully the very near future. So I think this is a very exciting program, and I just commend and congratulate the partnership and the consortium coming together to be able to make this a reality. And it's something that obviously with 2020 being a very difficult year, 2021 is actually shaping up to look pretty good on the agriculture space with strong global demand. And I think being able to have value-added processing done rather than here in Canada, especially we ship a lot of raw products on trains and then Panamax ships to other places around the world, and then they get processed and manufactured and then imported back into the country. So I think it's great to be able to see that type of manufacturing done here in Canada rather than shipping raw products around the world. So I commend you guys for your hard work and your ingenuity. And if there's anything that the government of Alberta can do to help, whether it's through red tape reduction of new facilities or to be able to get them off the ground or investment opportunities, we also in our budget last week announced an $800 million expansion or increase to AFSC's lending capacity, primarily for value-added projects. So I think it is something that we're putting our money where our mouth is, and just wanted to congratulate you on behalf of the government of Alberta for this very exciting announcement, and I just appreciate having the opportunity to speak to everyone today. So thank you very much, Bill.
Great, thank you, Minister Dreeshen, and we appreciate you taking the time with us today, and really appreciate the support that the province of Alberta gives the agri-food sector and the growing agri-food and ingredient manufacturing work as well. Now I'd like to give each of our project partners an opportunity to speak about the role of their project, and to start I'd invite Brad Shapka from GrainFrac Inc. to the screen.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Bill. I don't have a whole lot to say other than I would just like to thank you and all of your staff at Protein Industries Canada. So far, the amount of help and support that we've had from your team has just been remarkable, and I really appreciate that ongoing support. I'd also like to thank the Government of Canada. Obviously, their contribution is so significant, and nothing that we're doing would be possible without that contribution. Also like to thank the Government of Alberta. We have an ongoing relationship with the different departments in the Government of Alberta that has been very supportive over the years. The involvement and our involvement at the government facilities has been extremely important to our development as we go forward and try to diversify the economy here in Western Canada, and try to optimize the resources that we have here in Alberta. Our role, or GrainFrac's role in this initiative, is basically to vertically integrate the producer and the customer demand. So at the heart of that is our technology, and as you indicated, Bill, our technology is a very sustainable technology. It enables us to fractionate pulses and separate the components more sustainably than with traditional methods. We use less water and we use less energy, and by virtue of that, we have lower greenhouse gas emissions. Probably the greatest advantage, though, is the cost lowering ability of our technology. And I think this is going to significantly help us here in Western Canada to achieve the competitive advantages that we're going to need to really be competitive on a global scale. But mostly, I'd really like to show my appreciation for to the partnership that we've got formed here. I think this it's just so tremendous to be part of this spirit of collaboration, and the companies and the organizations that are involved between Ripple and between Tomtene, I think are going to make it possible for us to really accelerate this initiative and to develop products and capacity and ultimately sales here in Western Canada. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Steve and introduce Steve Tomtene from Tomtene Seed Farms.
Thank you, Brad. I'd like to introduce Tomtene Seed Farm. We are a farm in Birch Hills, Saskatchewan, and my name is Steve Tomtene. I'm currently the managing partner of our family business, and we've been in operation since 1967. And I think, Bill, you've been to our place a few times in the past. So anyway, we have focused and dedicated a good part of our business to the selection and multiplication of new seed varieties of many different small grains, pulses, and oil seeds for a wide variety of customers that we have. We are members and shareholders of several different seed companies, so we have good access to a wide variety of genetics from several different plant breeding institutions. We are really looking forward to our collaboration with GrainFrac and Ripple Foods. We will work at the beginning or the front end of this vertically integrated supply chain. We plan to screen and select varieties of grains for the purpose of enhancing the plant-based proteins and specialized ingredients that both GrainFrac and Ripple Foods will further process and test. A special thanks to Protein Industries Canada for their support of our joint project and helping to make this whole thing possible. We look forward to participating in the joint development and commercialization of this specialized technology. This opportunity that has been made possible because of this investment is very important because it will help to facilitate both the commercialization of the technology and the scaling up of the capacity to produce plant-based proteins and other specialized ingredients right here in Western Canada. So on that note, I would like to introduce Ripple Foods Research and Development Lead, Celia Homia.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, everyone. As Steve mentioned, I'm Celia Homiak, and I'm leading the protein and product innovation efforts at Ripple. So just a little background on Ripple Foods itself. Ripple was founded in 2015 as a technology-driven consumer packaged goods company to bring plant-based, dairy-free alternatives to the market. Additionally, we are a benefit corporation, a public benefit corporation that is built on a foundation of sustainability to really utilize less water and be better for the environment through our products itself. The primary protein in our products is based out of yellow peas, which is why collaborations with Canadian industry partners work really well for us itself. Majority of our products on the market now are based off of the plant-based beverage sector. So this is milks, creamers, high protein shakes. We also have a frozen dessert or ice cream alternative, in addition to dabbling in next generation fermented foods such as yogurts or cheeses itself. And all of these have the pea protein within them. Our products can be found in over 20,000 stores across Canada and the US itself. And so how does Ripple fit within this collaboration? As you may have guessed, we are the end user. We're planning on taking these proteins from GrainFrac, testing their functionality to see how we think they'll be best fit within plant-based food products, and then also testing them within some plant-based food products to see how they work. And we're hoping that we can do this in regards to giving this information back to GrainFrac as this feedback loop to really optimize the process to make better plant-based food products in the end. And so why is this important to us? Like I mentioned, we've been testing plant-based products or plant proteins in plant-based products for the past 5 years. And so we're really excited to take our expertise in plant-based products with that expertise of GrainFrac in plant protein processing, along with Tomtene Seed Farms in seed production and manufacturing, We're really excited about this vertical integration to really see the process from the field to the processing to the food production itself. As I mentioned, we are a technology-driven CPG on a foundation of sustainability, which aligns perfect with this collaboration that's using this new protein processing technology that's also more sustainable and utilizing that towards pushing it within the consumer packaged good industry. And finally, I have to say that we're very honored to be part of this collaboration with Protein Industries Canada. We really feel like they're at the forefront of the plant protein technology and the plant protein industry in general. So overall, we're really excited to be part of this collaboration with Protein Industries Canada, GrainFrac, and Tomtene Seed Farms. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for your attention, and we'd like to take any questions you may have.
Great, thank you, everybody. It sounds like this is going to be a wonderful project that leads to some great new products out on Canadian shelves soon. So now, as Celia mentioned, we're ready to take some questions. If media or anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, I invite you to use the raise your hand function or to type them into the Q&A box, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Okay. Are there any questions at all? If not, then we can start to wrap things up here. Looks like everybody's quiet again. Bill, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, it's I think we've had so many announcements in the last while. The media is getting used to us, and Miranda does such a good job of writing our news releases that media has very few questions. But we're really looking forward to this project. It's a great example of what we're trying to do at Protein Industries Canada. And Celia, I think you said it best. This idea of the feedback loop between you and the consumer packaged goods company feeding back through the processor and right back to the farm. I think that's the strength of a consortia like this, putting it together. And so again, a great amount of thanks to Brad and Steve and Celia for the work and the patience to get to here with Protein Industries Canada. And Minister Dreeshen, again, thank you for your time today and the unwavering support that the province of Alberta has given to the sector. Miranda, was there a question in the Q&A box?
There are. So the first one that we have, will this project support further technology development or the establishment of processing facilities? And that's from an anonymous attendee. So who would like to answer that one?
Oh, I can answer that. Yes, definitely. That's an important part of this initiative. It's to develop additional capacity or new capacity. And we want to do that capacity development in conjunction with that high degree of feedback from the consumer, from the end user, and that's why Ripple's involvement is so critical. So yes, absolutely. We'll be not only adding more capacity, but refining and fine-tuning that capacity to be more analogous with the demand channel.
Okay, and so the next one we have is from Neil Billinger. Is there a lot of competition in the plant-based beverage market, and what makes your company stand out from the others?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yes, there's a lot of competition in the plant-based beverage sector. Specifically, there's a lot that of course, there's been soy and almond that have been around for many years. Our technology is based off pea protein. So we were one of the first pea protein milks in the industry, which really has given us an advantage thus far, with especially being peas are still non-allergenic, and our milk itself has a protein content and sugar content similar to what actual dairy milk has in comparison to soy or almond alternatives, which are a lot lower in protein. There's also up and coming new proteins. I'm sure all of you have heard of oat milk and seen how hot that is lately. And so Ripple itself is at the forefront of technology of using pea protein, but we're also not just limited to peas and open to kind of exploring other proteins, which is also why we're excited about this, because I think GrainFrac has a lot of experience with other things beyond peas to really help us push that forward.
Great. So we can go to the next question, which is, can this technology be used on different pulses, etc.?
Yes, the technology that we developed was originally intended for fiber separation out of grains. But what we discovered was that by modifying the technology in relation to other applications, we were able actually to refine it so that we could use it in relation to pulse fractionation. And typically what we see though is that when a technology works for a specific applications, the focus on efficiencies results in a highly specialized infrastructure that really only lends itself to one particular variety. And I think one of the advantages of our technology is its diversification, its ability to function effectively in with a variety of different raw materials, whether they're pulses or grains. So as Celia alluded to, there's a lot of interest in many other types of protein right now beyond just pea. And this is one of the key reasons why Steve's involvement is so critical here. As we work through this and try to identify where the evolving demand is coming from, we're able to correlate that with our technology, and Steve is able to provide the feedstock for that.
And Steve, did you want to add anything to that at all, since you were mentioned in the answer?
I don't think I can add a lot, but certainly the ability for all of us to communicate on a regular basis and try to identify where the opportunities exist helps me at the front end of the supply chain search out the best ingredients to help get us to where we need to be on the demand side. Thank you.
Great. So Neil Billinger has a question for Steve. How many varieties of peas will your farm supply for the project? And do you have any examples?
With this project, we're just at the beginning. So, we're going to be initiating a bunch of discussions here now on where to start and how best to approach the market with a variety of varieties or with one in particular. Certainly we've had other examples with other crop kinds where depending on customer needs, we may have one variety for one customer, another variety for a different customer with slightly different attributes. So it's really hard to say, but there are many good examples of how different genetics can provide slightly different characteristics when after processing lead to slightly different products that have different value. So I think there's just an immense number of options that lay ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to learning all about them.
Great. And then from Dan, and I apologize if I pronounced your last name wrong. Will the technology developed for fractioning become available to other industry participants?
The short answer is yes. We haven't, worked out all the details yet, and we really are at the very initial stages of this development, so we're not really sure exactly where it's going to take us. But yeah, the part of the objective here is to make our technology available so that we get a high degree of usage, and by virtue of that, we can make a meaningful contribution to the overarching objective of increasing levels of sustainability.
Great. And so one more question from Neil Billinger here. Steve, what other types of crops other than peas?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. As an example, on the oil seeds, there's different opportunities with different flaxes and canolas, which you're probably aware of. Certainly when you get into cereals, you've had examples with oats, but in particular barleys, different grains of barleys carry different characteristics. And so there are many examples with different crop kinds where we can, utilize the genetics to offer slightly different nutrition levels that might be of value on the demand side.
So that's all the questions that are in the Q&A box. If anybody has any more, they can type them in. I just wanted to note that in the chat box, in case any of our panelists didn't see, Kim McConnell congratulates everybody involved and says it's another great project for the advancement of the industry. So thank you, Kim, for that comment. It looks like that's all of our questions today. So if there's no more, I think we can wrap things up. Bill, is there anything else you wanted to add before we finish?
No, thanks, Miranda, and thanks to everybody. Thanks for the questions. We're really excited about the project.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. Thank you for your questions. Like I said, we all look forward to seeing these end products, and I think that's everything. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.